Osiris dies twice. The first time, his brother throws a feast in his honor. The second time, his brother hunts down every piece of his dismembered body and kills him again. Both times, Set smiles while he does it. You think you know this as a story about resurrection. You're wrong. This is a story about the most perfectly executed murder in mythology, and why it had to happen twice. Set doesn't kill Osiris out of sudden rage. He doesn't kill him in battle. Set throws Osiris a party, presents him with a beautiful gift, and watches his brother climb willingly into his own coffin. The murder is so elegant, so precisely planned, that even Osiris doesn't realize he's dying until the lid slams shut. Before the murder, there was order. Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky, bore 4 children who would reshape the cosmos. Osiris emerged first, destined to rule. Isis followed, wise beyond measure, who would become both sister and wife to Osiris. Then came Set, lord of chaos in the Red Desert, born with jealousy already burning in his divine heart. Finally Nephthys, gentle and loyal, bound by fate to marry Set, though her heart belonged elsewhere. These 4 would love, betray, and destroy each other in ways that would echo through eternity. In the beginning, Osiris ruled Egypt with Isis at his side. He taught mortals to plant grain, to brew beer, to live in harmony with the Nile's rhythm. His kingdom flourished. The dead honored him. The living prospered under his wisdom. Set watched his brother's success and felt something darker than envy take root in his divine soul. Every celebration of Osiris was a reminder of Set's own diminished status. Every prayer offered to the green god of fertility was a prayer not offered to him. Set ruled the desert, the storms, the wild places where nothing grew. Osiris ruled everything else. The inequality burned. Set began to plan. Not a crime of passion, but a masterwork of deception. He would need a coffin built to Osiris's exact measurements. He would need 72 conspirators sworn to secrecy. He would need his brother to trust him completely. Most importantly, he would need Osiris to climb into that coffin willingly, even eagerly. Set spent months perfecting his plan, and when he was ready, he sent invitations to the most elaborate feast the divine realm had ever seen. The feast was magnificent. Gods reclined on couches of gold, drinking wine that sparkled like liquid starlight. Set played the perfect host, ensuring every cup stayed full, every guest felt welcomed. When the revelry reached its peak, Set called for attention. Servants carried in an object that drew gasps of admiration, a sarcophagus of unprecedented beauty. Gold inlaid with precious stones, carved with protective spells, fitted with silver hinges that gleamed like moonlight. A gift, Set announced, for whoever fits perfectly inside. The gods who built it swore it was made for someone in this very room. One by one, the divine guests tried to fit themselves into the golden coffin. Each found it too long or too short, too wide or too narrow. Set's conspirators made great shows of squeezing in and failing. Finally, as Set knew he would, Osiris stepped forward to try. Osiris lowered himself into the sarcophagus with the easy confidence of a god who had never known betrayal. The fit was perfect. His head rested exactly on the carved headrest. His feet touched the footboard precisely. He laughed with delight at Set's craftsman's skill. "Brother, this is truly," his words cut off as the lid slammed down. Set's conspirators surged forward, hammering nails through the golden coffin faster than divine strength could break free from within. They sealed every edge with molten lead, while Osiris's muffled shouts grew weaker. Set stood over his brother's prison, feeling the life force drain away, and smiled. But killing a god requires more than suffocation. Set and his followers carried the sealed sarcophagus to the Nile and hurled it into the sacred waters. The river that had blessed Osiris's reign now became his tomb, carrying the golden coffin downstream toward the Mediterranean, far from any who might attempt rescue. Isis felt her husband's death like a physical wound. The goddess of magic and healing, who could speak the secret names of gods and command the stars themselves, was powerless to prevent what had already been completed. But death, she vowed, would not have the final word. She cut her hair in mourning, tore her divine garments, and began to search. For months, Isis wandered Egypt and beyond, following every rumor, chasing every whisper of a golden coffin carried by the Nile. The river had swept Osiris's sarcophagus far downstream, past the delta, into the Great Green Sea, until it washed ashore in Byblos. There, a magnificent tree grew around it overnight, encasing the coffin within its trunk. The king of Byblos, marveling at this supernatural tree, cut it down and made it into a pillar for his palace. Osiris rested hidden in the heart of the pillar, waiting for love to find him. Disguised as a servant, Isis entered the palace of Byblos and won the queen's trust. When she revealed her true nature, the royal family gladly gave her the pillar that held her husband's remains. Isis carried Osiris back to Egypt and, in the secret marshes of the delta, opened the coffin that had become his tomb. His body was perfectly preserved but utterly still. Death had claimed him completely, yet Isis possessed magic beyond mortal comprehension. She transformed herself into a kite, a bird sacred to the gods, and beat her wings over Osiris's lifeless form. With each wing beat, she breathed divine life back into his still lungs. She spoke the words of power that could wake the dead, called his secret name that only she knew, and poured her own life force into his empty shell. Slowly, impossibly, Osiris stirred. His eyes opened. For one perfect night, husband and wife were reunited, and from their reunion, the god Horus was conceived. Set discovered them in the marshes. His brother lived again. The perfect murder had been undone by love and magic more powerful than death itself. Rage consumed Set completely. If Osiris could be resurrected once, he could be resurrected again. This time, Set would ensure no resurrection was possible. He fell upon Osiris with divine fury and tore his brother's body into 14 pieces. The head he threw far into the desert. The limbs he scattered across Egypt from the cataracts to the delta. Each piece he buried in a different nome, ensuring they could never be reunited. The most sacred piece, Osiris's phallus, he cast into the Nile, where it was immediately devoured by fish. Set laughed as he committed this ultimate desecration. No magic could restore what had been utterly destroyed. No love could gather what had been scattered to the ends of the earth. This time, Osiris would stay dead. Isis would not be defeated twice. With her sister Nephthys, she began the most sacred quest in Egyptian mythology, the gathering of Osiris's scattered remains. For years they searched, following clues both magical and mortal, until they had recovered 13 of the 14 pieces. Each piece they found was carefully mummified with spells of preservation, wrapped in linen, blessed with protective magic. The 14th piece, his phallus, could not be recovered, so Isis crafted a replacement from gold and sacred clay. When all was ready, Isis and Nephthys began the ritual that would define Egyptian burial practices for millennia to come. They bound Osiris with linen wrappings, spoke the spells that would preserve him eternally, and performed the opening of the mouth ceremony that would allow him to speak in the afterlife. They had created the first mummy, but this resurrection would be different. Osiris could not return to the land of the living. Instead, he would rule a kingdom far greater, the realm of the dead itself. Osiris descended to the underworld not as a victim, but as a conqueror. Having experienced death twice, having been torn apart and made whole, he understood mortality in ways no other god could comprehend. He became the Lord of the Dead, the judge who would weigh every human heart against the feather of truth. In his halls, the justified dead would live forever, while the wicked would be devoured by Ammit. Every Egyptian who died would face Osiris in judgment, and every Egyptian burial became a reenactment of his death and resurrection. The green-skinned god, who had once taught the living to plant and harvest, now taught the dead to be reborn. Set had won the throne of Egypt, but Osiris had gained something far more precious: dominion over eternity itself. From the realm of the dead, he watched as his son Horus grew to manhood, knowing that one day the child born from his brief resurrection would challenge Set for the throne of the living. The death of Osiris became the template for every Egyptian's journey beyond life. In tomb paintings from the Valley of the Kings to humble graves in village cemeteries, the dead were depicted following Osiris's path: death, preservation, judgment, and resurrection. The mummification rituals Isis performed became sacred technology, preserving pharaohs and commoners alike for their journey to the afterlife. The spells spoken over Osiris became the Book of the Dead, copied onto papyrus and placed in coffins throughout Egypt. For 3,000 years, every wrapped mummy was Osiris, every funeral was his funeral, every resurrection was his resurrection. Set's perfect murder had become the foundation of Egypt's greatest hope: that death was not an ending, but a transformation. What Set meant for destruction, love had transformed into salvation.